welcome to another episode of Book HQ. I know it's been a while since I've done a video, but I've been a little bit busy with trying to get some momentum going with my book, Narini, Man of the Line. So anyway, today I'm going to talk about Suicide Squad. So that came out in France on August 3rd. I didn't go and watch it opening day. I went and I saw it on the 4th, not at my usual cinema because I usually go to UGC, but because of the timing, I ended up going to see it at Gaumont. And the theater was kind of empty, but then again, I guess it's also because of the timing. I saw it in the afternoon, people work, whatever. I am not somebody who's like followed the Suicide Squad in the comics, and so I didn't really have like huge expectations or really any expectations for any of the characters except for the Joker, because that was really the only character I was familiar with from Batman. So let's get right into it. I really liked it, actually. I thought it was really entertaining. I'm totally down to see it again. And I was really impressed by the performance, I guess, of Will Smith as Deadshot and by Viola Davis as Amanda Waller. And so, it's basically she is selling this team as a bunch of metahumans who they can use to tackle threats who are as dangerous as Superman. It was interesting, seeing some of the, well, we didn't really see a lot of the backstories of the characters, which is a little bit frustrating because, like me, if you're coming in there, you don't really know much about a lot of the characters. It would have been interesting to get to know them so that we could really get invested in them. And so, for example, Killer Croc, not really much backstory there, and he also didn't really talk very much during the film. There was a bit of backstory with Harley Quinn and the Joker, but I feel like even that felt like there were some things missing. There was quite a big backstory with Deadshot, but then again, I guess it's because it's Will Smith, I don't know. El Diablo, his backstory I liked the way his backstory was told. It wasn't like in flashbacks. Well, it kind of was like in flashbacks, but it was like a dialogue where he was talking about why he's sort of passive in the team, and he was explaining. And I liked that kind of backstory explanation better than it kind of feels a lot like what we said about Batman v Superman, where there was a moment where somebody could literally just have come out and been like, all right, in this corner we have the Flash, he's super fast, blah, 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 and in this corner we have Aquaman, he, can talk to fish or whatever. So it literally felt like that was a lot of the character exposition, where it was just like, this is this guy, he does this is that guy, he does that. And so that style of backstory explanation is not really great, because it kind of feels lazy in a way. The big twist in the film was that from the trailers and the build-up of the film, we kind of have an idea of what the villain is, or who the villain is going to be. And then you watch the film and it's like, oh no, this isn't the villain at all, which was a nice surprise, I guess, for me. But I kind of had a bit of difficulty with that as well, because it kind of felt like there were two villains, because they focused, I guess I have to say this part, they focused on one character, or they made it seem like one character would be the villain, and they showed him, this character, doing villainous things and carrying out villainous activity, but that wasn't really what the Suicide Squad's mission was. It had nothing to do with that character. It ended up being that the villain was somebody who actually was a member of the Suicide Squad. So that was, it was a little bit, it was kind of having a hard time distinguishing, because then I was like, okay, so this character that we assume is the main villain, that we're seeing a lot of doing villainous, crazy, unpredictable stuff, why are we seeing this if that isn't really the villain? There was that. There was also this issue of as I said before, Amanda Waller sells all these worst of the worst, bad of the bad, as, being metahumans. But when you watch it and you see the action scenes and you see what everybody can do, they're not all metahumans. They don't really appear to all be metahumans. So for quite a few characters, I was like, okay, so why is this person on the team? They have no special ability whatsoever except that they're a criminal. And that, might not be in keeping with the character from the comic book, which I heard a lot about in terms of Boomerang, because like I said, I don't really know Boomerang from his comic book, but in the film, I didn't get it. I didn't get why he was brought on this team. I didn't get what was so dangerous about him. I mean, yeah, that was kind of like problematic for me. And then I think also there were some things in the film which weren't really well explained. So the very intense love relationship between Harley Quinn and the Joker, like they explained how it began or how it came to be or whatever, but like there are a couple of times when he just like leaves her, and it's like, okay, but you're so madly in love, and then you've just left her to be like kind of like thrown under the bus, and then you come back and you save her, and it's like you wouldn't have had to save her in the first place if you hadn't left her. So that was a little bit strange to me. All in all, the film does have kind of a very dark theme, very much like Batman v Superman, but it's not as like depressing and like solemn and super serious as all that. There's like, and I think also a part of that has to do like with the music. So the music for this movie is really, really good. And a lot of the time the music kind of gives you an idea of what kind of mood or tone is in the, like, that the shot or the scene is about. So like you kind of always knew like this is more like a more cheerful or a more happy or playful whatever kind of tone because of the music, which is kind of a good thing but also not such a good thing because it sort of highlights the what appears to be a lack of dialogue or lack of good dialogue. And I believe the writer for Suicide Squad is David Ayer, and so yeah, like I said, there were some people who just didn't really say much, and there were quite a lot of people who, when they spoke, it was like, why? Like, what value did what you just say add to anything? Like, no. So, some sketchy writing. I feel like, and I think I said this after during my review of Civil War, is that like any superhero film coming out after Civil War is just gonna have a super tough time, because Civil War is kind of like, I feel like the category killer of superhero movies for this year at least anyway, and yeah, it really set the bar high, and anything else coming after that is going to be not as well received, you know, which we've seen. So it's unfortunate, but you know, not to say that it's all the fault of Civil War, not at all. I mean, with this film, there were so many weird cuts, like, I feel like jump cuts, where it was like, somebody would be standing 1 minute, and then jump cut, and the next minute they're sitting, and it's like, it's not consistent. So that was a little bit distracting. The other thing was also that the final big plot was kind of a plot that we've seen many times before. As I was watching it, I was like, this really is like the plot for the Avengers when they were in New York, and you know, like, big team goes in, you know, destroy machine, save the world, and it was very much, I was watching it and I was like, oh, this reminds me of New York, this reminds me of the Avengers. For a second there, I was kind of half expecting Thor to come flying down, but you know, so that was interesting. The other thing also was that, like, they kill off a couple of characters. This one character who was just there for like seconds, literally, and he dies. And I was like, okay. And it was like he dies just to prove a point, like, and you know, to prove a point to keep the squad in line. And I thought that was, yeah, I didn't think it needed to be done that way. I didn't think it was necessary. Then there was another character who died, who I really hope is not dead, because I think his performance was one of the very few really good performances in the film. To be clear, I really liked the performance of Deadshot, and I really liked the performance of Harley Quinn, just because it was really refreshing how you never really knew what to expect from her. Total wild card, and I really liked that. But she falls into that category where I was like, but this is not a meta-human. This person has no powers. Anyway, and then I also liked the performance of Amanda Waller. I did not like the performance of Rick Flag at all, because he's like running around like super self-righteous, you know, bleeds red, white, and blue, but he's also in many ways a big villain. Just like Amanda Waller is also like a big villain in the film. So, yeah, so I liked Harley Quinn, I liked Deadshot. I liked El Diablo. Everybody else, I mean, Killer Croc, like I said, didn't really say much, so I didn't really know much. There isn't really much about him that gives you a chance to get attached to his character. Like, if he died, I'd just be like, okay, whatevs. And then Enchantress also, there was one extremely cool scene with Enchantress where it shows you how, like, June changes from herself to Enchantress, and she whispers her name, and then like this black hand comes up from underneath, and you know, they lock hands, and she twists her hand over, and then she becomes Enchantress, and she's no longer, you know, the archaeologist. So I thought that was really cool, but I thought it was really weird that she's just like the whole time, like it's kind of like she's belly dancing the whole time, like. And when she talks and everything, it was like, okay, why are you belly dancing the entire time? It's really sexy, but it's weird at the same time. So yeah, there was that. So yeah, so thanks again to everybody for watching. Let me know if you want me to do a spoiler review where we can get like more in depth in some of those characters, the things that I liked, didn't like, and the questions that I have. Join me for my next episode where I'm going to be talking about powers. I'm so excited about that. Love this series. Been reading the comic books, and it's on the PlayStation Network. So tune in for another episode where we're going to be talking about powers. But yeah, until then, like, comment, share, and if you haven't already, please subscribe. But until then, bye!